Alan, I'm going to go ahead and I'll say the games and the spread that we have right now. If my spread hasn't been updated, you let me know what the new spread is, or you correct me, or correct us in the chat for sure. But I'm going to go ahead and say Wake Forest is giving 3.5 points to Utah State. Who you got there?
I actually picked Wake Forest here at minus 3.5. I'm taking them in the 3.5 points. I think they're going to win by more than that. Utah State just kind of lost too much on offense. They had a good team last year, but I think they lost too much there, especially on the offensive line. But I think Wake's going to be a little better than people think. But I'm taking Wake Forest minus 3.5.
All right, I'm going Wake Forest as well. I think they're going to beat the 3.5, and Ohio State, from what I'm looking at, or Utah State, excuse me, has lost 4 starters on the offensive line, lost a couple of their key wide receivers that was from that explosive offense last year. So I'm going with Wake Forest. Next game is NC State minus 17 versus East Carolina. Who you got there?
NC State minus 17. All right, I'm taking NC State as well, and I really don't know why. I haven't had a lot of faith in East Carolina the past few years, and NC State lost a lot from last year as well. But it's a game, I'm assuming NC State's at home, correct?
Yes.
NC State's at home. It's a game they should kind of win by, I'm guessing kind of the 20-point range, something like that. So I'm hoping – a lot of times NC State lets me down in these type of games, but I'm going with them this time. I actually had them at 16.5. I'll take them at 17 as well.
I'm saying that NC State as well. This is one of those games that, again, I'm not an ACC homer, but I feel like this is one of those games that NC State has to win, and has to win by more than 17 in order to show that the ACC has teams that are better teams than just Clemson. So I really want to see the Wolfpack do well, at least in this game. Probably not many other games for sure. But I picked NC State. Next game up is one that it's going to be kind of tough. It's really hard because this is one of those high spreads. Got Alabama versus Duke in Atlanta. Alabama right now is giving 35 points to Duke starting out. What do you think?
Well, I got to tell you, the complexity of this one has kind of changed a little bit with, the suspensions to Alabama's running backs and Dylan Moses, their linebacker, being out for the year. But at the same time, I think, with their running backs being gone, maybe they'll pass more. Duke can't cover those receivers. I'm taking Alabama minus 35 points. I don't usually like to touch a spread that big, but I am going to take Alabama with this one. I think even with the suspensions, Duke shouldn't be a match for them.
Okay, yeah. This was one, too. I said I wasn't going to take Alabama, and I ended up taking Alabama as well. Last year I got burned on the minus 35s every time, it seemed like. So I reluctantly did, just because I feel like Alabama's going to come out and really want to beat up on Duke after having such a bad national championship game. And so that's why I'm going Alabama. Big one for our rivals, South Carolina minus 10 at North Carolina in Charlotte. Who you got there?
Well, this line actually went up from like 7.5 to 10 points. So I really want to take South Carolina because I think they're a better team. North Carolina is horrible, and I don't think they're going to win very many games this year. But, first game, a little sloppiness on both sides, maybe a couple turnovers. I'm going to take North Carolina plus the 10 here. But I really don't have a good football basis for that, other than the things I just mentioned. But I'm going to take North Carolina here and hope they cover. Hope they win.
Okay, here's one that we're kind of a little bit different on. I'm going to say it.
It's on you, bud.
I'm going to say it. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say South Carolina wins by more than 10 against North Carolina with the new coach. I don't really know much about the Tar Heels right now, how they're going to be. I know that Mac Brown is doing some good recruiting over there, but that doesn't work for this year. And I know that they just picked up a really good running back from, the team in orange. And so I'm going to go with South Carolina on that one. Let's move on.
Let's do it.
Virginia Tech minus 4 at Boston College. They got to go up to Massachusetts. What you think there?
I am taking BC. Okay, I'm taking BC. As a matter of fact, I know this doesn't count. Obviously, this can't count against me in the spread. But I'm going to say Boston College win. A.J. Dillon leads them to a victory at home against the Hokies.
I got people on YouTube saying that they believe Tavian Feaster gets the cover as well. So, they agreed with me reluctantly, I'm sure, as well. I've actually got Virginia Tech not winning the game, but not winning against the spread. I think they're going to win by like 1 point. So, give me Boston College in that game.
Yep.
The next game looks like Syracuse giving 18 to Liberty, and they're actually playing at Liberty. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's that's a little bit odd for sure. Liberty's actually a little bit better team than people realize, offensively at least. They can score some points, but Syracuse, the way they do things, the way they run up tempo and that kind of stuff, I think they're going to kind of wear Liberty down. I'm going to go with Syracuse minus the 18, even though I think Liberty will score some points on them.
Yeah, I'm going to get Syracuse as well. If those fans are talking about how DeVito is a big deal and that they're going to run up on Clemson at home as well, they got to beat Liberty. And why not beat Liberty when the coach is probably going to be coaching from the hotel room? Did you notice that they said that they put video cameras and projector screens in his hotel room so that he could watch the game because he recently had surgery. So that's going to be interesting if he can't be on the field. But Liberty is not a team that's not a bad team. They're just they're in that lower division, but they're not a bad team at all. But Syracuse, this is a game they got to win. They got to win big in order to prove to me and to other people in the nation that they're still going to hang with Clemson this year. Next up, we got Florida State -5 at Boise State in Jacksonville. Not even playing in Tallahassee. What do you think about that?
Well, the two I fought the most over was UNC, South Carolina, and Florida State, Boise State. I really don't have a good read on this game at all. I mean, Boise State hasn't been the Boise State of old for sure. I got a decent defense, but not much as far as offense is concerned. Florida State, you really don't have a clue what they have. I mean, their offensive line was atrocious last year. Will it be better this year? I don't think it's going to be that much better this year, but I think Kendall Briles is going to be able to mask some of those issues as their new offensive coordinator. So I'm going to say Kendall Briles pulls out some magic and FSU covers.
Ooh, that's pretty cool. All right, so FSU is going to beat Boise State by more than 5. I am on the other end of the book there. I'm going to say that I have no confidence in Florida State. James Blackman is like a stick throwing a football. He hasn't gained any weight since he started college. Boise State's got a veteran defense, and they like to do trick plays against bigger name teams. Give me the Broncos beating Florida State. And I think the ACC needs it, but forget it. I'm going the Broncos for this one. Forget FSU. I don't want them to win.
I don't either.
The next up, we got Virginia -2.5 at Pittsburgh. This is a pretty interesting game starting out. This is one of those ACC games, which Virginia and Pitt are two teams that pretty good powerhouses over there in the coastal. I guess you could say powerhouses. They're probably two solid teams. Let me take that back. Over in the coastal side, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd say Virginia is more, more of that coastal powerhouse than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just has that tendency to sneak up on teams, a la Clemson in 2015. Okay, we all remember that. But or 2000, was it 2015 or 2016 maybe? But anyways, yeah, it was. I think Virginia's a better team. I just think Virginia's better. I think their defense is good. They have a good quarterback. I think they're going to stick this one out by 7, 8 points, something like that. So I'm taking Virginia -2.5.
Give me Virginia as well. I want Virginia to be one of those top teams over in the coastal, and this is the first game to prove it to us. We got 19 people over on YouTube right now. I want to let you know it looks like it's working right now, but it kind of goes down. I don't know if it's just YouTube or Facebook as well, but what I've noticed is all I got to do is refresh the feed. So I just kind of back out of the video and back in, and it works fine after that. So I'm not sure it's something on our end. It might be something on YouTube, but let me know if that helps you. If it's freezing up for you, just refresh it. So the next one is it's a Monday night game. This is not one of our weekend games. It's starting the week here. Notre Dame giving 20 over to Louisville on a Monday night. Who do you got there?
Actually, first of all, I did want to say, the Pittsburgh game when they jumped up and bit us, that was in 2016, obviously, because that's the year we won the national championship when we kind of made that comeback. But Notre Dame -20 against Louisville. Louisville's just that bad. I'm going with Notre Dame -20. I hate having to pick, spreads that big on teams that have been good, in the recent past, but Louisville is terrible. They were last year, as a matter of fact. I think they're going to be again this year. And I don't think Notre Dame is all they're cracked up to be either, but they're better than Louisville. So I'm going to take Notre Dame -20.
I got that as well. We're kind of on the same page there. I want Brian Kelly to show up and show out with his team over there in Notre Dame team. And, Louisville, it's just they got a new coach, but it's going to take time, just like Mac Brown's going to take time. And right now it's not it. They've got a lot of returning starters on defense, but their defense was so bad that I don't even know if that's a good thing or not. Right. So, all right, so the next big one is not an ACC game. This is one of those ones we're talking about, two top 25 teams. This is kind of one of the marquee games, other than Clemson, Georgia Tech, obviously. That is Auburn, number 16 Auburn, giving 3 points to number 11 Oregon. Who you got?
Well, it's funny when I'm picking these games usually in the year, I hate to do this because I hate to make their heads any bigger than it always is, but I always pick the SEC in these type of games. They always seem to do pretty well. I always pick them against the spread, but not so fast. All right, I'm taking Oregon minus the or plus the 3.5. I think Justin Herbert is going to take them to a win over Auburn in this game.
I'm liking that too. I put down Oregon as well. I don't have any confidence in Auburn right now either. Bo Nix, true freshman, never played, and then you got Justin Herbert, who's probably going to be a first-round draft pick. So I'm going with the quarterback in this situation. Oregon all the way for me.